2:00. So hello.
Are we on?
Well,
okay, I think.
We're on. Well, it's 2:00 for us here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's 2 p.m. Good afternoon, early evening. Or morning. You know what? The internet is a vast place. There's no time. There's no time on the internet.
Yeah, no, time is a bit of a I don't know. Time is a bit of a social construct. I don't know.
Time is a bit of yes. That's exactly. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, Black Card Gala, and
hello, Black Card Gala. Maybe we should probably, because I know people are probably still rolling in because it's I keep saying 2. Sorry, 5. I'll say 5:00. You know what? I'll say 2:00 for us. It's 2:00 for us. It's 2:01 p.m. right now. So maybe we'll just before we officially full on deep dive into everything, give everybody a minute or two. At maybe 2:05, we'll actually deep dive into what we want to talk about today with you guys.
I think that is a swell idea.
So yeah, we can do that.
What's up?
Well,
5 minutes. What's going on?
Well, we could also check out.
Time is fake. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the chat on Twitch.
No, yeah, I was gonna say we could look at the chat and just have a little bit of a casual conversation here and see what people are talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I see Happy Bear. Oh, yep, saying hello. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see Carrie. Yeah, Carrie. I love you, Carrie. Yeah, I see you in there.
Wait, where are you seeing chat? Oh, in the... Okay, I see what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's a Sunday.
It is a Sunday. Since it is the first 5 minutes where we're letting people stroll in, what did I do this Sunday, you ask? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked, Bree.
Yes, what did you do this Sunday?
I woke up early and I went out to play tennis. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds pretty dope. I'm glad. Yeah. Hopefully people were wearing their masks and staying safe.
Tennis is one of those good old social distance sports that you can play because you're very far away from any other player.
Oh,
so
that's
it was
good.
Nice. Yeah, so it was very nice.
That's nice. My Sunday was spent so far I was looking up potential cars that I could buy, and I was looking up new apartment stuff.
That's very good.
And I was also trying to decide if we... Also, I went grocery shopping with my boyfriend, and then we got back, and we're going to watch the new Attack on Titan and Promised Neverland episodes after our presentation.
Oh, awesome. Dang, I didn't know
that was
Promised Neverland came out. It feels
it did. Season 2
dropped.
Season 2 dropped, but apparently it's different from the manga. I guess a whole arc got skipped, so probably pick up the manga after.
Okay.
Yeah. Snap. Oh yeah, they're giving us all their energy. They're giving us all their energy. Thank you. Well, you know what? There's a good amount of people in here. I think the room is maxed out. So whoever else is not in the room can watch on Twitch. So yeah, let's get started. Hello, Black Card Gala.
Hello, Black Card Gala.
Hello, you guys. It's so good to be here speaking with you. My name is Brianna Williams.
And I am Waysingleton. Sorry, I did not know we were doing full intro. And I'm Waysingleton. Continue.
No, you're Wayman. And Way and I are the co-founders and podcast co-hosts of the BlacknAnimated podcast and the organization also known as BlacknAnimated. It's all underneath the umbrella of BlacknAnimated. And what is BlacknAnimated? Well, BlacknAnimated is basically an organization and podcast that is meant to empower, inspire, and educate Black folks that are trying to seek careers in the animation industry. Waymond and myself are professionals in industry. I am a production coordinator at Disney Television Animation on the show called The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. Don't know if you heard of that. And Waymond, you are.
And I, Waysingleton, And I am a story artist currently at Disney Television Animation on a show called The Ghost and Molly McGee.
Yeah, it's really cute. It's really cute. They showed a clip at what was it, Comic-Con, I think?
San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah. They showed a clip at San Diego Comic-Con. And basically we just kind of wanted to have this panel in order to tell you folks about BNA, and also for those of you that are animation industry hopefuls, just sort of kind of do what we do with the podcast, where we provide that information to Black and brown folks that are seeking those careers. And I suppose let's just get started with the main thing. So how do you break into the animation industry? Like how do you do that? And
what is animation?
Yeah, what is animation? What is it? Don't you press you just press a button to make cartoons, right?
Yeah,
like the cartoons just make themselves?
Totally, yeah. I think I've heard of that. Yeah, totally. totally.
But yeah, so there's different roles that you can do within the animation industry. As we just basically said, because I'm a production coordinator, he's a storyboard artist. So those are just two different paths that you can take. For those of you that are interested in, Wayman can talk about the art side a bit, but I'll talk about the production side. So those of you that are like, man, I just really want to be a producer, but I don't know how to do that, or I want to be a showrunner or an executive producer or something. You don't know how to go about doing that. The really good entry point is being a production assistant. The production path to getting a job in the animation industry is a very good opportunity for those that are seeking those careers, because production allows you to get exposed to different parts of the pipeline, as well as if you are that producer like manager type, that'll just take you up the path of production assistant, production coordinator, which is where I'm at, production manager, and all the way up to line producer, associate producer, straight up producer, and even an executive producer, because you're in studio, so you have that access to be a showrunner or EP. And yeah, that's kind of a thing that people don't know, that like executive producers and showrunners are kind of the same thing, like they share a similar title. So that's sort of the production pipeline, as well as being a production department secretary. A production department secretary is basically somebody who, like it says, is a secretary for the entire show. And sometimes those roles lead into writing roles. That means that like take Disney for example. Disney is one of the few studios that kind of still has a production department secretary role, and secretaries sometimes have to handle like scheduling for writing and like handle scheduling for the executive producers and whatnot. And they might have to do what is that called, Waymond? Where for writing you have to like check over the script and just sort of conform it.
Script coordinator?
Yeah, like coverage. You might have to do like some coverage for it.
Coverage.
So production department secretary roles can lead into writing roles. You end up becoming a script coordinator or a writer's assistant or a writing PA. So that's kind of how that works. I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you guys, but we kind of just wanted to go over like
Bree, you went into like the deep end of production.
Yeah, I know. I said I was going to go to the deep end.
Why is animation to here all the rules of production?
Well, I want people to understand that like you don't have to draw to be in the animation industry.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people think of like when they immediately think of animation, because it's such a visual medium. They think, all right, we're animating, we're drawing, we're going to be doing a lot of like animation is obviously the only role that you can have in animation, right? Like no, there's so many different roles, even non-visual artist type roles, all the ones that Bree listed. that you can have within animation because you're passionate about the craft and the industry. And so a lot of people also think like, oh, character designer, storyboard artist, visual development artist, designer. People think about these roles first when they're thinking, oh, I want to pursue a career in animation. They tend to think like, okay, like I think I might be an animator or a character designer and all the other roles I just listed. But no, there are other roles that you could seek out, and including the ones I mentioned. There are roles like an animatic editor. An animatic editor is someone who puts together the storyboards that the storyboard artist makes into a video format that people can potentially like watch and figure out if like the story is actually flowing or not. There's sound editing, there's music, there's writing, there's so many different roles. There's timing sheet coordinators or timing directors who basically, if you're familiar with, have to figure out the timing of the animation by using X sheets. And I guess I feel like I'm getting into the deep end of 2D animation.
Getting into the deep end now.
But that is like another role, timing director or timing coordinator, for you to think about when pursuing animation. And just keep in mind and try to research more of these roles.
Mm-hmm. And can you speak a little bit more to like the art side of it though, like what's available? Because everybody tends to think like, because I made a tweet a while ago saying like, hey, where are all the color designers? And a lot of people are like, what? What's that? Right, I thought a character designer colored the characters, and it's like, no, you like sweet summer child. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, that's something that we've been like talking about a lot. Is like, okay, there is designer, but what are the different aspects of design? Like someone can go down in the path of being a designer, and you got like character design, which is very popular, but you also have background designer or a layout designer. Or background painter, which is a separate job from being a background designer. And you have color design, which is the person that is basically the person in charge of all of the colors on the show. Because when you're a character designer, you're not coloring your own characters. You're basically just straight up designing what the character will like look like form-wise. And also figuring out how that character might move, like the ways their poses and stuff like that will look for reference for the animator. But the color designer is the one that's going to be coloring all of those drawings and figuring out, okay, what does this character look like during the day? What does this character look like neutral? What does this character look like at night? What does this character look like in a crazy, weird dream sequence where all the colors are like out of control or crazy? Like there's so many things that the color designer has to like create palettes for. So that is also something to keep in mind. Like, oh, if you're feeling like, hey, I'm like really good at painting or figuring out color palettes, and I just like playing around with color palettes, that is also a role for you to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have to just be a storyboard artist or a character designer. Like if your character art isn't the most solid, but your colors are really great, there's two jobs for you already. There's color design and BG paint. There you go. Start looking at that. Consider those. Like don't sell yourself short just because you can't draw like, I don't know, you can't draw like Glenn Keane or something. Like you don't have to do that. There's so many different ways to get into this industry, whether it's artistic or non-artistic. Like on props as well. I believe there was a panel earlier today. Yeah, Muffy did she's in here right now. She did a panel about prop design. So yeah, like props is also a very important role. In fact, a lot of people who get into character design usually start out as prop designers or color designers, because it's difficult to say stuff is more entry level than one or the other, because all of it is equally as difficult, or as like it requires similar amounts of discipline, just in different areas. But most people, in a more traditional sense for the design side, if you do want to do character, a lot of people tend to come in as a color designer or a prop person first. And And props are so important. Like, prop designers are so valuable. There are so many props on shows. Oh my God. We need people.
So many props.
Can you draw chairs really good? You have job security if you can draw chairs really good.
Can you draw a doorknob? Please say yes. Television sets. Can you draw robots?
Can you draw cars?
Those tend to also just, because if they're not a character, they tend to go into the prop design list or category.
Yeah. Can you draw a car in from like 8 different angles? Boom, you're hired. Get in here, please. That's how valuable prop designers are. Oh yeah, I see all the gifts. Everybody taking notes. That's what I like. That's what I like to see. That's what we want. We want y'all taking notes, okay? We want y'all taking those notes. Get in here. This industry needs more melanin.
Or wait for the recording.
Yeah, or wait for the recording.
Galaxy brain.
Yeah.
So like Bree said, there are different entry level positions that you may get into in order to, like, I mean, if it might be like your first step within the industry as you either figure out what you really want to do or what you want to pursue, or as you go along that path of the entry level position, like Bree mentioned earlier with being in production, like that tends to be an entry level position, no matter like what discipline you're more interested in, whether it's like in the art field or in production. Because like Bree said, as production assistant, you're pretty much overseeing a lot of the production pipeline. So you kind of get a little bit of a taste, I guess, depending on the show that you're on. But you get a little bit of a taste of what is going on in each part of the pipeline.
Mm-hmm. Like my I guess we can kind of go into like our personal journeys a little bit, like very briefly, but like for me, I started off as a production assistant at a small studio called Wild Canary Animation. You might not have heard of Wild Canary exactly, but you may have heard of some of the stuff that they've produced. A lot of Disney Junior shows, Miles from Tomorrowland, Mira Royal Detective is the show that I was on, about a little Indian girl who is a detective. She solves mysteries. It's really wholesome and really sweet. They also did Sheriff Callie's, Wild West, Puppy Dog Pals. Everybody's Puppy Dog Pals is all over the place. And The Rocketeer as well. And coming soon is another show, I believe.
That's they do Wild Canary.
Yeah, the Wild Canaries. Wow. But yeah, they do a lot of preschool stuff. And I started off as a PA there, and within 6 or 8 months or so, I think it was only like 6 months. It was a very short amount of time. I became a design coordinator in the interim because my design coordinator, a design coordinator is somebody who is in charge of coordinating the designs. They work with the art director and the designers to make sure they do their work, they get their tasks done on time, and we deliver the designs to our overseas studio. Because I believe a lot of people know this by now, but some people don't. Animated shows are not animated here in the United States. They are animated for the most part in Canada, Korea, the Philippines, Japan sometimes.
Across seas.
Yeah, I mean, Canada's not overseas.
And countries.
Yeah, they're animated elsewhere. Unless you work in feature, you're not animating anything here. Or Titmouse. Titmouse tends to do a lot of in-house stuff because they're cool like that.
Or motion design, which is not specifically what we're talking about, but that is also animation career. It's not specifically like the cartooning industry, but yeah, that is something if you want to specifically animate or go into animation more.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, being a PA, I was able to work with the storyboard artists, work with the designers. I helped out with that stuff. I helped out my showrunner, like gave him scripts and like helped out with like his binders because he's like he was pretty traditional. And now as a production coordinator, I'm overseeing like a lot of the design stuff and the storyboard stuff. and some audio stuff, like all in one. I can't talk too much about it because, be patient. Proud Family's coming. Be patient for it. But it's a lot. Like, you get exposed to a lot of stuff. So if you do want to pursue an artistic path, like let's say you want to be a board artist or you want to be a designer or whatever, being a production assistant is something that you can do as well because you're already in the studio and you have opportunities to test for shows that, or either an opportunity to just roll right into an art position on your own show. I eventually want to be a storyboard artist, but I decided to follow the production path to get me in, to learn more about how stuff works, what doesn't work, what's required, what the skill level actually is. Because like my skill level was here, but the storyboard division's job was here, and I wasn't quite there yet. So it's like, let me get in at another discipline and just figure everything out. And I'm like, okay, I have a better grasp of this stuff now. And I have people who are advocating for me and connections that can help me move over to the next step. So there's always more than one path. And I guess speaking to that way, if you want to like jump in.
Yeah, a little bit about my journey too. Like, I also started as a production assistant. I started in animation in New York City for shout out to East Coast folks. Double shout out to New York City folks. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's where I started out in animation. So I started out as I guess I started out technically as an intern, and then I was at Augenblick Studios, and I eventually was hired to be a production assistant. And as a production assistant at Augenblick, I was able to like pretty much be in, or how should I put this? Like as a production assistant in outside of LA, or I guess because there is a union in the LA animation community, there are specific things that production people and art people can do legally. But in New York, there is not currently a union. So as a production assistant in New York, I was able to dip my feet a little bit in different positions, artistic positions in animation, which you probably would not be able to do. You would not be able to do in the Los Angeles animation community. You would not be able to do that. So I kind of it's kind of a double-edged sword, but I lucked out because I was able to actually dip my foot. I don't like that turn of phrase, but I was actually able to dip my
like Sugar Mama, you put your foot in it.
I put my foot in it. Into different roles within animation. So I was and very, very like small parts of these roles. So nothing that's like big enough to be like, well, why is this person like completely making character designs? I was doing things like cleaning up character designs or fixing up like small errors in character designs or fixing up small errors in background designs. And eventually like doing slight storyboard revisions or conforming, like slight storyboard conforming and revisions, and eventually like doing in-betweens or color work, like putting colors into animation and stuff like that. And that allowed me to just have a little bit practice in each of those like positions to kind of think like, okay, like what am I feeling? What am I truly interested in? As well as like doing production assistant stuff too, like working with Excel sheets. So many Excel sheets.
Many Excel sheets all day.
So many schedules.
So many schedules.
And yeah, I was able to, because I was able to like see all these aspects of animation, I felt, oh, like I'm really, really liking being a storyboard revision. I'm really liking doing these revisions and conforming. Like, I think I want to be a storyboard artist. Oh no, someone posted, how dare you? Someone posted an Excel sheet. gosh, that threw me off so bad. I was able to find like, oh, I'm really interested in being a storyboard artist, and I did go to animation school, and of course, I've heard of being a storyboard artist and like learning about that role in school. But I was always very afraid of the position because it seemed so drawing heavy, like so much drawing, and you have to like so many drawings. You have to make so many drawings, and it was very intimidating. So I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to be a character designer. And I eventually realized, oh, I don't like drawing neat. I don't like drawing neatly. I don't like being
that's
super
another
constructive,
thing.
which is something that you have to keep in mind as a character designer. You have to be constructive, very constructive with anatomy, and know how to draw clean lines and things like that. I hate doing that, which is great because you don't have to do clean lines when you're a storyboard artist.
5/4 turn, 8/4 turn, 3/4 front, back, side.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be like, you got to turn that character. So it's like, ooh, I don't. I mentally don't want to do this. Yeah. So it was just like as I dipped my toe into storyboard revisions, it allowed me to like see like, oh, hey, this ain't so bad. Like I could learn how to do this. Yeah, let's do this. So I started studying a lot more, and I took a summer mentorship online. I don't know. I don't think it's held anymore specifically, but it was with.
I don't think he does it. No.
Yeah, it was with Chris Wimberly. I think he does some workshops, so shout out to Chris Wimberly. I don't remember what his handle is, but you'll be able to find him.
Isn't he Swaggletooth?
It might be Swaggletooth. It's Chris with a K, not a CH. Wimberly. So check him out because he usually has like at least like workshops and stuff like that for storyboarding if you're interested in storyboarding. And yeah, I took his summer mentorship to like hone in. Oh, someone posted it in the chat, so thank you for doing that. And yeah, I built up my portfolio, moved out to LA because there is an animation scene in New York. It's difficult because there are many studios and a union. It's kind of difficult to find a lot of like cartoon animation jobs. So moved to Los Angeles because that's pretty much the hub in the US.
It's interesting though because we're in COVID times, so because people have asked me, people have been like, "Hey, Bree, because COVID, do you think that we can have people working
because of COVID? Do you think that we can have people working outside of Los Angeles?"
My immediate answer for right now to that is yes, but I would highly encourage you to, especially I am also a Los Angeles transplant. I am not from LA. I am only here because this is where the work is. I'm from Chicago originally. So I am a Midwestern
shout out to Midwestern people.
Midwest
and also shout out to Chicago people. Double shout out to Chicago people.
But I would say that I would encourage people to move to Los Angeles if we're kind of dipping into the next section of like what we want to talk about like networking and like taking a big leap and stuff. But I do think that even though we are in like remote times, there is more opportunity for people to work remotely, but depending on where you are, like it's best for you to be in the space of the studio that you're working at because it's a little difficult to run a production, I would say, when when your team is all scattered all over the place. Like you can do it, it works. Like there's remote studios that exist, like Chaz's studio is basically kind of a remote. Remotes operate, it operates remotely. Yeah, shout out to Chaz Bottoms. Chaz
does Black owned.
Black owned in indie animation studios. Check Chaz out. Or even what's that one guy, Eric Miller? He his is kind of remote as well. Like that white dude that's out here, and he gets professional people to do they do all kinds of projects. But I still think it is best to be in the space of the studio that you're working at, whether it is in the New York area, Atlanta, because Atlanta is like Adult Swim and like the place that does Archer. I can't remember their name.
Floyd County.
There we go.
In Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah. Or in Texas, because you got Powerhouse.
Powerhouse.
Yeah,
Real
and there's
FX.
Yeah, Real Effects, and there's like another one out in Texas. But you get my point. It's better to be physically in the space of where you want to work, if possible, because you do have more opportunity. Like I feel that producers and people who are hiring for artistic roles, whether that's the EP, the storyboard supervisor, they would want somebody. Like if your work is so dope and it doesn't matter, then cool. But sometimes if you are at the same skill level as another person who's going for this position, for X position, if you're like in New York and this is for like Nickelodeon or something, and the other person is also in LA, but you guys are at the same level, the person that's immediately in LA, they have a bit of the edge, you know? So if you are financially ready and able to move to like where the pocket of animation is being made, New York, Atlanta, Canada, even if you want to go actually do the animation, or LA, then go if you do have the ability to do so. It is a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is a lot. Move. Yeah. No joke. It is a lot. It's not like we're saying, "Hey, it's easy. Come on, move. Whatever." Like, no. Before I moved out here, like, I saved up for a couple of years before I was like, you know what? I'm about to take a plunge. No jobs lined up. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, I had to save up because I graduated from college in 2015. And I didn't move to LA until tail end of 2016. So I saved up for a while before moving out here and lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 other people. It's expensive here, guys.
Yeah. It sounds like we're kind of like heading towards the tips and tricks.
Yeah, the tips and tricks section.
Yeah, regarding like job searching and networking and portfolio and like animation career in general. So I guess we'll like slide in that section of our presentation. Into that. And as a reminder, we're going to be taking questions at the end. So like make sure you like have some questions, or you can like type up questions in the Discord chat or the Twitch chat, and I'm kind of like trying to keep track of those before they disappear into the darkness that is the timeline of the chat. So just a reminder. So let's start talking about those tips and tricks.
Yeah. So
I feel like a big one as you're like looking at your list is that comes to mind for me is actually considering, and I think you brought this up earlier, but considering smaller studios, consider applying to smaller animation studios or studios that like are outside of LA and or in your area. Like I know it might be like there might not be studios in everyone's area, but like just keeping in mind to like not like dive for the big
I call them the big five.
Yeah, the big five off the top of your head that make cartoons. You're like, oh, they have this shit like the Nickelodeons or the Disneys or the DreamWorks or
Oh no, wait a minute, you froze. Wait a minute, come back.
Oh, did I disappear?
Yeah, you froze for a second. It's all good. You're back.
Froze for me too. Okay, I'm back. Good. Yeah. So make sure. Now I lost my train of thought. Yeah. Oh yeah. Make sure you are considering smaller studios. How do we find these smaller studios? Well, I guess the first thing I did when I was researching studios is just Google animation studios or independent animation studios.
No, that's what I did. That's what I did.
Just Google it. You're gonna find a lot of different studios. Like for example, like Augenblick and Titmouse. Like I think Titmouse is a little bit bigger, but still is like more. It's smaller studio than like the big ones, but yeah, those are like two that come to mind, to the forefront of my mind. And I found those by like researching on like places like LinkedIn, or like straight up Googling for animation studios in like New York, or small animation studios in New York, like things like that. And as well as like if you watch your favorite show, or like most animation shows, you'll notice at the end of the show, you will see title cards for different animation studios. Like those are production animation studios that the channel that is showing the show like reached out to for this animation, to help with animation, like whether it's like storyboards or art or straight up animation. So keep that in mind when you're researching studios. Like, oh, like I wonder what animation house like animated this show. Let me like go on IMDb or like watch to the credits of this show, rather than like it's just jumping to the next show. So yeah, those are like some tips to like research some smaller studios.
Yeah, and like I said, like I call them the big five. So that's Netflix, DreamWorks, Disney. Even though we work there, we did not start there. What did I say? Netflix, Disney, DreamWorks, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. Those are the big five. Because everybody wants to work at Cartoon Network, everybody wants to work at Disney, everybody wants to make Shrek 5. Everyone wants to work at DreamWorks.
Everybody wants to showrun their very own Steven universe.
Everybody wants to make the next Steven or whatever. But, sometimes you have to be realistic that, like, they're the big five for a reason, because everybody wants to go there, and you may not get there right away. As Wayman spoke to, like, he started off at a small studio called Augenblick. I started off at a small studio called Wild Canary. And those smaller studios have more opportunity to let people who are a little more green in and give those chances, more so than those big five, because you got everybody and the grandma clamoring to be there, And that's not to like discourage you that like you won't get into DreamWorks right away, or you won't get to Cartoon Network right away. It's just that you need to make sure you widen your pool when you are searching and doing your job search, and just like doing all that research. As women message, like, paying attention to the credits, and using Google. Google is your friend. When I was starting out, I didn't know the different studios. I just literally was like, animation studios in LA, and it just I just saw that there were a whole bunch besides the big five. But there's also another resource, which is the Animation Guilds. The Animation Guild is the union that's out here, that basically provides all the union needs for the different artists and writers. Not production, but that's a different story.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. But the Animation Guild, or TAG, as the abbreviation is, they have a studio list on their website, and I will link it for people in the chat here. And it's a very good resource for you all to have, so you can look at it and be like, okay, so these are all the union studios, and it has the smaller ones on there too. It has Wild Canary, 6 Point Harness, Titmouse. Geez, come on. Give me another one.
Wait for okay.
Shadow Machine. I was like, where's BoJack Man? It's a Shadow Machine. There you go.
Sorry, for a second, I was trying to post that link that you posted into the Twitch chat, but then I realized I wasn't logged into Twitch, so I stopped paying attention for a second.
Oh, okay. Dang.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. But yeah, like, what's another small studio out here? I said 6 Point Harness.
Yeah, 6 Point Harness. You got Oddbot. Did you say Oddbot? You got Oddbot.
I did not say Oddbot. Oddbot, that's where you were working.
That was the first studio that I worked at. Shout out to Oddbot. I love Oddbot. I love my Oddbot folks. Was the first studio that I worked at when I came out here. And yeah, I feel like that's a good thing to keep in mind too. Smaller studios tend to give chances to people that are earlier in their career. Like if your work is showing promise, they tend to like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna take a chance on you and like hire you. And I feel like I've experienced and seen that happen more in smaller studios than larger studios. So that's something good to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. And we're approaching our last like 15 minutes, but just before we start taking like Q&A, I want to mention that like in addition to like looking up like smaller studios, networking is king. Networking is a really good and powerful thing. Like you can go on all the websites and apply on like you can go to cnstudios.com, right? Like that's Cartoon Network's I think it is. I think that's the URL. If it's not, it's like cartoonnetworkstudios.com. I think that's the URL for like their actual job portal. You can apply on there all you want. Or you can apply on the DreamWorks Careers website all you want. But if that's all you're doing, that's not enough. You need to actually like put a face to like the application or put a face to that email that's being sent out, because like just making connections with people really helps move things forward for getting those positions or getting that first position. Like my first job as a production assistant I got because I networked pretty intensely. I reached out to a friend who was working at the studio. I said, is there anything happening on your show on Puppy Dog Pals? She said there wasn't, but there's like a new show that's coming up. Why don't I email again? Because I had emailed the studio like months before and there wasn't anything. But because I reached out to the person who I connected with, it was the right timing and I was able to get an interview, get a second interview the next week, and then get hired. That night I got my job offer email after my second interview because I networked, because I connected with people.
I also want to mention, like, I guess, like, excuse me, I feel like networking can be like sort of a dirty word or something, because like as soon as you say networking, there's like, talking to people.
Right, yeah.
Oh no.
I'm an anxious person.
Communication. Like, I mean, just thinking networking is just like, it just feels like, I mean, when you say networking, it feels like it comes with such a like dehumanizing aspect of it, because it feels so businessy. So it kind of feels like, okay, like I don't want to feel like I'm just doing this for business or trying to get something out of someone. So a lot of anxiety comes from that as well. But I just try to think of networking more as just like making friends or trying to make connections, rather than just like trying to get something out of someone. And also, like you said too, like trying to like put a face to the name rather than just throwing your application out there, things like that. Because specifically talking with like the job hiring aspect of it, like recruiters, they want to meet people that are like that can do the job. They want to meet you. They want to see your work. They want to see your portfolio. They want to be able to pass along your name, because I mean that's a part of their job. So with that in mind, try to like reach out in a professional manner, which means like not like try to be empathetic with someone's time and inbox when messaging them, and reach out like saying, oh hey, like I saw that there was a position, like when you find like the contact for a hiring manager or recruiter, like saying, hey, I saw that Cartoon Network was hiring for storyboards for for what's the show? It's Craig at the Creek. There we go. Sorry.
Oh, that one. What are they doing over there?
Yeah, for a second I like blanked, but for Craig of the Creek or Apple and Onion or something, and I am don't say or something. Be more direct about what you're asking for, and saying, yeah, I'm really interested in this position, and I saw that it was open, and I'd like to put my name in for this position. Here's my portfolio, and yeah, just opening that dialogue, and they see that email. They will see that email. Like maybe. They might not reply to you, but you're getting your face in front of them. You're putting your work in front of them. They will see that email. They will open that email. So that is something to think about. And a way to find like hiring recruiters, like contacts, like one big way is LinkedIn. A lot of recruiters are on LinkedIn. Yeah, so that's like one big way of finding them. Some have social media. I'd say don't, I guess, do not
maybe don't slide into like their DMs.
Don't slide into their
Instagram
DMs, but sometimes they have their emails like available, and then you can like send a professional email and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just being aware and being like keeping an eye out for those contacts.
Yeah, people tend to poo-poo LinkedIn a lot, but I find LinkedIn to be a very valuable resource for because when I'm like recommending people for jobs, like if I try to find them on LinkedIn, and I'm like, who are you? What have you worked on? And then that gives me that information, and recruiters are doing that too. I'm not a recruiter, but I am a big advocate for. Oh, you're trying to hire something, huh? You're trying to hire somebody? Here's a Black person I know. Get them in there.
Here's a POC.
here's a Black person. Here's a Latina. Here's a person of color.
Here's a queer person looking for work. Hire them right now. What are you doing? That's kind of it. But yeah, like I think maybe we should, because we are approaching time. Yeah, we are.
Do people have questions?
I want to real quick though too, like one quick tip before, like people send in your questions. But one last tip too is that I just thought of is the IMDb page. You can search for shows on IMDb, and they have a list of all the cast and crew and stuff. That is also a good way to find out like the different roles and positions that you can find in animation. And once you like see like a position you're interested in, like timing director, you can Google timing director and find out more about timing directing and what that is.
Or listen to our podcast and find out what certain jobs are.
Listen to our podcast, BlacknAnimated, to find out more about different positions in animation, and as well as like the Animation Guild link that Bree posted. Like if you kind of just explore the website, you can find a page where it kind of has a list of different artistic positions. So yeah. Questions, please. Does anyone have any Actually, I saw that there was a question earlier that I grabbed. The question is...
Are people like sending them in, or are people opening their mics? I don't know how this works.
I am looking at the chat.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at both chats at the same time and copying pasting questions that I see, so I do not lose them in the chat timeline. So the first question that I copy and pasted, which was sent earlier, is: are there studios that help with certain moving costs or tickets or anything, especially for animation workers that don't exactly have the best finances?
I think the answer to that might be no. I think.
Yeah. Not nowadays. I feel like it might have happened a little bit.
Well, you know what? I think if you're like a super cool veteran,
right? If you're like,
if you're Glenn Keane,
and Peter Ramsey, and he's like, well, I'm here and I need to be there. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be like, please come. Here's the money. So like, if they like, I feel like that would come down to like the recognition a little bit, and if they really need you, and I feel like that also pertains to international animation people, because I think that is a consideration when it comes to visas, like how important your role and skill is for the job.
Like because I've worked with a couple of people who have been international, and
shout out to international Black Card viewers and listeners.
And it's very tricky, especially in our previous administration. It was even difficult, more difficult. But I believe it's tricky when it comes to international folks, because there's a whole lot of like red tape and paperwork for like getting them here, and like paying for their work visa, and like the company has to do it, and also like the U.S. government has to like renew it, and sometimes it takes a long time, so everything has to line up, so it's very tricky. And I know that like the international folks that I've worked with previously, like they're like, it's such a headache, but studios will take care of that. But I think it does in that instance, it comes down to like the work, and if like the art director is like, oh dang, like so and so is from I don't know, like Nigeria or whatever, or they're on a student visa here. They're really good. I want them to stay. We have to do this, and the studio will do it. It's just it's tricky if they don't know you right away. Like it's very difficult, and I wish it was easier, and I don't think it's very fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next question, and I'm kind of like gonna merge two questions because they both have to do with production. Can you give some advice on how to get a job as a production assistant? And the second part of that is, how important is FileMaker Pro and Shotgun versus Excel for production jobs?
I can answer those for you. So how to get a job? So I'll answer the first one. So the one about Excel and FileMaker Pro and Shotgun. So on my previous show on Mira, we used Shotgun all the time. Shotgun was king. That was our archiving and like just production software that we used. A lot of CG shows tend to use Shotgun, period. And I believe like at Nickelodeon, they use Shotgun a lot too, but it also just depends on the production. But knowing Shotgun is very important because it is becoming more and more kind of like a standard. But there are some studios that are still on FileMaker Pro or working out of Excel or using proprietary software. And the studios that are using the proprietary software, like it's not on you to like know that going in. But if you have at least like a very basic working knowledge of Shotgun, FileMaker Pro, or Excel, then that will put you above the rest of anybody else applying for a PA position, as well as knowing Storyboard Pro. If you know Storyboard Pro, because you're going to be helping out storyboard artists like troubleshoot stuff sometimes, or like helping them with their conforms, just helping them in general, that will also give you an edge on a production assistant role. That's like one of the reasons why I was like more valuable as a PA, because I knew Storyboard Pro, because I want to be an artist eventually, and also like producing a podcast is what helped me. So just, you don't have to be great at it, but at least having a basic knowledge of what they are, what they do, that will help you become a production assistant. And as well as networking with other PAs and coordinators, because as a PA, you're working with the coordinator. And if you can reach out to a line producer or a production manager, because they're the ones hiring you, and just having like a coffee or a virtual coffee with them right now, and just be like, I want to be a PA. What are you looking for in a PA? And then by the end of it, if everything's all right, be like, could I send you my resume for consideration if something comes up? That's kind of how you get a PA position. Just making sure you're aware of that software, are an organized person, and have a resume that kind of speaks to that. Okay.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna cut questions. So stop adding questions to the chat, everybody. But I'm gonna try to see if we can answer in time with some of the questions, or the last two questions that I have copy and pasted. Hopefully there's time. And this was actually a big question. So maybe this might be our last question. So I'm gonna read it out. I definitely need help with this and want to pass this along to friends. How do you deal with disappointment or discouragement, especially if it comes from the weight of heavier world-related issues or lack of privileges in your career path?
Oh, Jesus.
It's a pretty heavy question.
I'm only saying, oh, Jesus, because it's like, oh, who can relate? Who?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it doesn't get easier when you feel like you're on the career path. Like when you're not even, when you're kind of like still, when you're in the career path too, it's difficult as well. But I feel like, so I think back to just like how I was feeling when I was initially starting out, and it definitely felt like, okay, this career path feels like it's scary. Because it's an entertainment job, and there's a lot of like risk factor when it comes to entertainment careers. Like think of like acting and things like that. Like you have to like work really hard to get in and to be seen. And I feel like there have been like strides to like in the past few years to have diversity be apparent in the workplace and not just in the storytelling of animation. So you definitely have to keep your eye out for those opportunities for things like the Black Card Gala, like where you can like see presentations or like meet artists in the Discord artist alley, like keeping an eye out for events like this. And also, like, I mean, it's tough dealing with anxiety and the like the struggles of the heavier world at large. But sometimes I remember like when I was like struggling with a lot of that, like trying to get in and thinking, okay, this isn't forever. Like the feelings that I'm feeling and the just where I'm at isn't forever. It's going to be different. Like it might take like a couple years, it might take a couple months, but things will be different than the moment that you're feeling and the pressure that you're under right now. So that's something really good that I always kept in mind, because it's like it can get so overwhelming when you're trying to do your best and you get nothing in return for it, and constantly get nothing in return for it, and you kind of just see not only your mental world collapsing, but kind of the world around you collapsing. It is absolutely tough, but again, it's not forever. So like kind of holding on to that and continuing to put putting in the work into practicing your craft. And I was almost gonna say like putting your best effort in, but like even if it's not like putting your like low effort into like like I feel like saying the word best like has a bit of anxiety behind it too, because it's like, oh no, now I have to be the best, and I risk all of my mental capacity and just like physical well-being. Like, no, don't do that. Like sometimes you just got like the lowest thing is like maybe you just need to watch a show and just watch it instead of like drawing
or
like
just making your bed.
like 5 hours for figuring just making and even outside of animation,
something small.
Like something small. Just do do things for yourself, for you to feel better. Whether it's like making your bed, or like doing your nails, or like trying a different like hairstyle, and or like passive, like just not trying to study a show is what I was trying to say. But like just like watching something to enjoy it. Yeah. So yeah, that's my advice, and I'm sorry it took so much time.
No, like I think that's important to say all that. Like it's important to take the time, like when you're on the journey to trying to get a job in industry, you're going to be met with a lot of like rejection. I have a record in my email of over like 200 applications, couple hundred rejections that I've saved, and you're just going to see that, and that's par for the course. But I have saved all of my offers that I got, which is like 5, which is significantly less than the rejections. But, and I got discouraged. Like there were nights where I cried. I was really sad.
Like trying not to cry right now.
I would cry to my boyfriend because we were doing long distance. Now we live together. And I was like, I can't do this. I don't think I'm going to get a job. And, even more so like being a Black woman, it was just like, is this even possible? I barely see any Black women doing this at all. But, just I kept at it, and now I'm here. and I'm working on a show that like is really meaningful to me and to like be as being a Black person. I'm going to try to wrap up because I realize we're at time.
Yeah, sorry,
but like,
we're going over
so
slightly. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
But
so sorry, Black Card Gala. Oh my god.
So sorry, guys, but like it is important to like allow yourself to feel these feelings because like it's something that mental health and therapy is important if you can do it. My therapist tells me like you should allow yourself to feel those feelings, and if you're feeling discouraged, that's okay, that's normal. If you're feeling anxious, even when we have jobs now and we still get anxious, we still cry. There are times where I don't think I'm good enough to be here, but dagnabbit, I'm here and I'm just doing what I can. I'm trying my best, and if my best is just getting up and doing the bare minimum of making my bed or doing a little bit of a drawing for myself, not like a fully rendered thing that I put online, that's okay. And it's okay to just be you and to take that time to feel your feelings.
Yeah, celebrate
whether you have that dream job or not.
That's something I learned from my therapy. Celebrate those small successes. Please, please.
And I guess since we're at time, like for those of you who are animation industry hopefuls or that want to learn more about BlacknAnimated or like to get more information and network with industry professionals, you can become a member of BlacknAnimated. All you have to do is sign up for our mailing list, for our newsletter, and also you can join our Discord as well. We have industry professionals that are union and other like recruiters and professionals in the Discord, and like people give feedback and chat and everything. So just let us know and reach out to us. Like we are here for like networking opportunities. People want to just have that virtual coffee and whatnot as well. I love meeting new people. So yeah.
And thank you so much, Black Card Gala. This was really good. This was fun, and I really hope you all got something out of this and learned as much as you can.
Thank you guys so much.
Later.
Bye, folks.